This is HaShulchan Yardeh Siman Lamites Sif Kuf Yud Beis to Kuf Tes Vav. And this is supplemental day 288 of the HaShulchan Yomi cycle. Okay, the Kuf Yud Beis. Vodi Nemas, the rhinos here, do a poskim. You had this previously, the extra membrane, the story in rhinos. That the or Prusa as Rea, there was a membrane of skin spread on the on the lung, before mimena, and they peeled that excess skin off. And if the lung was found to be intact, whole, and they said it was kosher. Certainly, this extra membrane did not happen, all of a sudden. It gradually started developing. So means to form, I guess. It says at least karem to, at least came. Same idea though. To form that layer. But truly, miskarem al pi until it came a membrane covering the entire lung. So, okay, that's a membrane. So, I guess he's extrapolating to a sircha. And as long as you peel the sircha, and gets it's going to be peeled off the lung. It's no different than the mice of the rhinos. It's a membrane. And it's not really a sircha. It's a membrane which began to develop. That's why it can be peeled off. It was a true adhesion. Mr. Becker's gufa which clings to the body of the lung. It will not be able to be peeled off. Because truth is, what's the difference between a membrane which covers the entire lung, a membrane on part of the lung? It says Cain in the HaShulchan, which is a typo clearly. Kevon, for the man idea klipa, once can be moved by peeling, and but a sircha. It should be considered sircha, b'taras krum u'malbush. So a membrane and a article of clothing, and clothing. And these membranes come on account of moisture outside the lung. This is from the base of Ephraim. I guess it's not the Chuvas base of Ephraim. The parish on Shulchan Aruch. Shem Dodo Hago Maharas, whoever that is. Kufir Gimel. That would be a tremendous cool. And then why not move the circles to the fingernail? And Shulchan says, which we said previously, is I think it was Ramo says Maku Trafers Yisrael. So he says. So he qualifies this. He says, it's by a broad sircha, which is like a membrane. It's only a good reason. They called a broad sircha the one which is etzba wide, and maximum 2 etzbos. So up to that, he says that would be considered to be a sircha. 1 etzba wide, maybe 2 etzbos wide. But if it's broader than that, that most of our sirchos, which are thicker than 2 etzbos, maybe not called a sircha, maybe not called adhesion, but a membrane. But if there are sirchos which are like thin strands, or avim, or even thick strands, you can't apply the leniency of the mice of the rhinos, obviously. But this we see clearly. The sirchos which come out of the lung like strings, it's hard to peel them off. With Ruban and most of them, in Niklafu, if you do peel them off, then you inflate the lung and they're going to bubble up. Those are true adhesions. And but the sirchos which are like membranes which expand on the lung, most of them can be peeled up very nicely. And or those which come off like very thin, I guess, strands, and they're peeled off very easily. You can tell it's just moisture, strands of moisture, not actual sirchus. But this is something which one can tell with one's senses. The sirchus malchutim, a sircha which is like a string. Im hi sircha hi mushreshes yofeh. It's a sircha. It's embedded well, rooted well in the lung. It's not possible to build off that it won't bubble up. These are absolute sirchos. In fact, several animals, I guess many animals, come trade on that account. And we see this on a daily basis. And furthermore, we analyze further. This is the second minhag, which is clarified in Sif Kuv Ches, which is that you do you memayich with a twirling of the fingers. That which was Baratzim Chachamim consented to that manner of dealing with sircha. Which is in the middle of the sircha they were able to crush it, and the rest the rest that they peeled off. That's what he said. The Lashon back there. He said, "But daktim shemamachim begilgal ad samach l'reah." As meticulous, they will crush it until it's adjacent to the lung. Mashnisha oba guf hasircha, whatever remains in the guf hasircha afterwards. The dulim kutzarim, short protrusions. Shemen k'te'achiza, which you can't hold on to. The gil b'tzos, you can't twirl your fingers. And kofi benachas. And that it's the Shus Yanka, Prima Gardim, Vush Yisrael, Tersi Kusil. You quote all of them back there. Said that that's okay. The he's who's there, and who told them that they could do this and this is advantageous. Who told them that in the middle is the source of the sircha. So then I should have read. Quote you from Kuf Ches a little bit further. It says there, "Kibudulim ein tzarich ledaktek lasir benachas reshlimach beemtza." It absolves in the middle. Honor maybe she'ein sircha. We say there's no sircha, right? In other words, in the middle is the shoresh, and if you were able to move that in the middle without any peeling off, then it's not a sircha. Even though the rest is, even though it's still adhering around the edges, that's still doing bama. So it says HaShulchan here, who said. Who told in the middle is the source of sircha, the rest is only an expansion. Maybe the source of sircha is not in the middle, and maybe the source of sircha is what they peeled off. We heard that from expert checkers, the peeling which we do is more superior to the crushing that they did in earlier days. So if the bar chalila v'chila ma'ashva b'son nechshon b'sachas v'shom. HaShulchan to say the most of Israel is stumbling in this prohibition and eating treif. And it's not your Kodesh Baruch Hu is not happy that you're saying this. Anybody who defends Am Yisrael, Kodesh Baruch Hu mamit gam Allah melitzi prakli taife. Kodesh Baruch Hu gives him also in Shamayim people who defend him and are good lawyers for him. So HaShulchan is really going to town on Non-Glatt. It's telling you that Non-Glatt is there's a basis because it's not considered to be a sircha. Once if you're able to do all these things and then afterwards it's not bebatzbates, it was kind of like mice and the rhinos. Okay, kuf tezvav. Miu zevada shetzach l'sir sircha mikovako. They hadn't moved the sircha altogether. Shleshaba shum dildu. There shouldn't be anything, any protrusions left. B'chaychel and ofcha and then to inflate it, vodka, to check a baroka, a potion with saliva or with lukewarm water. But it's if it doesn't build up kshera. Nevertheless, there are many people who don't eat on account of the sircha. But that's what we call a ramah glatt. Ashkenazi glatt, where a real you don't peel off the sircha. You just peel if there's a real sircha, and you don't rely on the on this idea which HaShulchan is presenting here as Limmud Zechus and something where Kodesh Baruch Hu b'amim aleinu pam melitza praklim tovim. No, the Kolatem should tzrichim shabokim elokim. On any hat, you need the boidik to be Yirei Shamayim. You should do a shakatzim afim hema anashim yisharim. And it's known that the butchers, even they're straight people, nevertheless they are charedim, but on their money. Especially in our day and age. Shehev said Rab Ma'od, when there could be great loss, for a behema, could be thousands of dollars in a large animal. You'll see so you go to the and they will pressure and rebuke the shochet. Therefore, the shochet has to be truly God-fearing, with lev kabir, with a mighty heart. No, not to listen to the guy in his right hand, evidently the owner of the business, whoever it is, maybe the Yitzhar itself, who's standing on his right hand in order to pressure him to be machshir that which is not necessarily kosher. And that is it for today.